Good evening. Welcome to Cecil TV. I am Doug Donnelly. Continuing our series of interviews of the candidates who will be on the ballot on the primary ballot in June, we will next be talking to Ray Conger, who is running for the District 2 seat of the County Council. If he were to be successful, he would succeed Rebecca Hamilton, who has decided not to run for re-election. Ray lives in Elkton. Welcome, Ray.
Thank you, Doug. Good to be here.
So, to get started, who is Ray Conger?
Well, I was born and raised in Baltimore. When my wife and I were starting our family, we decided to move to Cecil County. We like the rural charm, the public safety, and the quality schools. And we've been very happy here. We've been very involved in the community, in various nonprofits and veteran service organizations, including the VFW Post in Northeast, the American Legion Rising Sun. I was on the board of directors for the Cecil County Arts Council for several years, and I've served on other nonprofits at the national and international levels. We put 4 of our 5 children through Cecil County Public Schools, and we're very happy with that experience. And for 21 years, I served on active duty in the Maryland Army National Guard. I did 3 overseas deployments, Iraq, Afghanistan, and Kuwait. And I'm looking to continue my service.
So, how did your decision to enter politics come about, and what makes you qualified for this position?
Well, about a week before the filing deadline, I was approached by several people asking if I'd be willing to run. And it took some convincing, but one of the things that meant something to me was a lot of these people disagree on a lot of the issues and on a lot of policies, but they all agreed that I'd be a good fit, and they all thought I'd do a good job. So that was pretty convincing.
Okay. So I've been trying to learn about you and how you might serve through social media, and there's not a lot out there, which is nothing terrible. I'm not a social media fan. But the one thing that stands out is that you believe that policies and practices should be backed up by measurable results.
Yes, I do.
So, can you explain this further? And please give us an example from Cecil County government where you suspect or believe there's been a failure to measure results.
So specifically, I think that when we take actions, we should have clear goals in mind. And part of forming those goals is understanding what success looks like. Otherwise, we might continue down the wrong path for a long time. So at the beginning, we have to know what it is we're trying to accomplish. And then we have to revisit it and ask ourselves the question, did we accomplish what we set out for? And were there unintended consequences? So a few examples from Cecil County government. A lot of people have been talking to me about the backyard chicken bill, which was a big deal some years ago. There's a lot of people very happy with that, and there's a group of people that would like to see some more changes to it. I think that we can't just pass something and leave it and never think about it again. At the time it was debated, there were several different land size requirements discussed. Ultimately, we settled on the 2,200. How's that going for us? Has it caused any issues? Would issues be caused if we made it smaller? I think it's worth revisiting things that we've passed.
Right, especially since I heard that people are now looking to make it smaller.
They are. There's a big movement in this area and throughout the state and country into homesteading and taking care of animals, raising your own crops. And so I think that's something worth revisiting. And then a few other examples are the money that we're spending in the sheriff's department. Sometimes we buy equipment and then a few years later we're replacing that equipment. So you have to ask yourself, what are we doing ahead of those decisions to make sure that we're not going to be re-spending money on something that we've already spent money on?
Right. Yeah, I got to look at their armored vehicle. It's pretty impressive, although I don't know when they're going to use it. All right. So, as you get out and talk to people in the county, what do you think their biggest concerns are as we approach elections?
Well, I think the biggest concerns that I've been hearing, of course, is cost of living. Everybody has seen their power bills going up. Everybody's homeowners have seen their property taxes go up. And along with the cost of gasoline, groceries. So people are trying to make their money go as far as it used to, but we're in tough times right now, and it's harder and harder to do that.
Right.
And I think their biggest concern is they don't want to see further increases, especially at any level, but they definitely don't like seeing the increases at the county level. We can't just keep growing our budget year after year as a whole when we have the same tax base. We're asking the same people for money, because then the only answer is higher taxes. So we need to expand the tax base so we can share that burden. And when we need to spend more in one area, we need to look at opportunities to find efficiencies in other areas to free up the money.
Right. Which leads me to my next question. Job creation, traffic, school capacity, and the vitality of our downtowns are just some of the issues that affect the daily lives of people. What should be the goals of the county in balancing commercial development with the quality of life for Cecil County residents?
Well, I think one of the big things is we don't want to see Route 40 become nothing but warehouses. Now, warehouses have their place. I like to order things off the internet and get them 2 days later, and that only happens with a network of distribution centers and warehouses. But the same things that make Cecil County attractive for warehouses and distribution centers can make it attractive for a lot of other businesses. So some of those examples already exist in the county, and we could look to replicate some of their success. We could do some agritourism, like Milburn Orchards. We could look at getting more defense contracting, especially companies that need large areas of land to do their work, like Northrop Grumman. These are some of the things that could fit into the character of our county, leaning into our agricultural roots, our proximity to I-95, Route 40, Aberdeen Proving Ground, and of course all the metropolitan areas. And we could also look at industrial development, some light manufacturing. One of the tunnels down in Baltimore was built in Cecil County and floated down the river and down the bay. We could get back to those roots. But I think what we need to do is we need to, as a county, the county council, the administration of the county executive, in partnership with the citizens and various chambers of commerce, we need to know who Cecil County is, decide what businesses fit here, and set the priorities. And then we can work with our state delegation to help with incentives to attract those businesses. But also, we have to take care of the businesses that we have here. We have to make sure that we're not making things harder on our small shops. We've got some great, charming small shops. We've got some fantastic places to eat. And we need to make sure that we're supporting them and not putting all of our efforts into attracting new businesses.
Very good. While we're seeing a relatively cooperative relationship between the school system and the county administration, there may always be a gap between the money CCPS asks for and what the county executive says the county can afford. How do we arrive at what might be considered appropriate funding for the schools while avoiding the political uproar of 2 years ago?
Well, I think, first of all, maintenance of effort is the bottom line starting point. And I think that through communication between the council, the executive, and the school board, and the superintendent, we can clearly identify priorities and work within the constraints, the constrained resources that we're dealing with. Like I said, we can't just continue to increase spending. But what we need to do is make sure that we're spending on the things that most drive student success. And we're going to look to our educators and the people that we have entrusted the system to help us identify those things that drive results.
Okay. Final question. The county's charter, which has, and I've been asking this of every council candidate for several years. The county's charter, which has now been in effect for 14 years, does not give any real control of the county budget to the county council. What powers do you believe the council should have regarding the county budget?
Well, under the current charter, the council can reduce or remove items from the budget. So I wouldn't say it's no power at all, because removing money, while the council can't allocate money and say, well, we think this is a higher priority, so we're going to move this money from one area to another area, they can communicate their priorities by reducing certain areas.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing that the council can do under the current charter is ask for accountability on how taxpayer money is spent. The current administration is moving to OpenGov, which is a fantastic improvement. And it's a system that allows a lot of detail and a lot of communication, and it makes it easier to see exactly where the money is going. And it gives them a chance to put a comment in there on why it's a priority or why it was prioritized over something else. Now, they're just getting started with it, so I think it'll be a little while before we get all the details that we want. But I think that through the budget process and asking for accountability and reducing items where justifications don't seem sufficient would be a great starting point for the council.
Yep. Okay, so do you have a final message for voters as they consider you for this office?
I'd just like people to know that I've been leading people and teams for the better part of my life. I've worked on cooperative boards, so I understand there's got to be compromise. We have to understand each other's priorities and then find a happy medium. And we've got to move forward, and we have to be transparent and accountable to the people who elect us and the people who pay the bills, and that's the residents of Cecil County.
Okay. Well, Ray Conger is a candidate for Cecil County Council District 2, and we thank him for coming on and talking to us.
Thanks for having me, Doug.
You're welcome.